Hey, Chase.
Yeah, man.
First of all, what's good, Chief?
Chief is good.
Chief is good.
Uh,
Been playing
Chief is
Halo.
good.
Master Chief, nice. I was wondering. I have a question for you.
Okay, and I have a answer.
Don't make fun of my stutter. You know I'm self-conscious about that.
It's okay, man. Just keep rolling.
Okay. So yeah, I have a question for you. I was wondering, what is your favorite moment in all of Spider-Man's history?
I really love Kraven's Last Hunt. Like specifically the part where he's in the black suit and he like rips out of the grave
Oh yeah,
upward and
yeah.
it's just like "Brah!" And it was
That's freaking
really good.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. I've
What about
heard.
you though?
Um, me, gosh. I really like the fist fight his dad gets in on an airplane for no reason, and when that plot never comes back really because of a deleted scene where his dad was supposed to come back from the grave even though he died in a plane crash, but then he was supposed to be alive, and fundamentally changing the character of Spider-Man completely. I like that one.
Yes,
That
that
one
is
was
that is
really good.
almost
I like
perfect.
I like it whenever he breaks his promise to a dying man to stay away from his daughter because he thinks she purty. I like that one. That one's
Yeah. I
yeah. That
mean that's
one's
less
uh,
so than the dead dad thing,
well. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. I mean, it just shows true character of a hero there. Like getting with a dead man's daughter after he specifically asked you not to. It's really heroic there. Oh gosh, there's so many great moments. I really like the bit where he lands and like right in front of this giant mecha rhino, right? And
yeah.
like he just kind of starts talking at it, and the crowd that are like they're cheering him on, even though the dude was shooting bullets and stuff like that, and he's like hyping it up like it's a wrestling match, and everyone's on the sidelines like, yeah, go get him, Undertaker, but it was Spider-Man.
Right,
I love
right.
that. And then he like swings a manhole cover at him, and then it just cuts to black, how the whole thing was shown in the trailer. I like that.
Oh yeah. That
The
is
Amazing
almost
Spider-Man
perfect.
series was trash. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of What If. This is the 10th episode. I am your host, Joseph Gallion, and with me, as per the usual, is Mr. Chase Gallion.
Yes. Always.
I like how you started. Just,
Always.
yes,
Yes.
I'm here. How are you? I wasn't
Finally.
creepy at all. Guys, this episode we are talking about The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Since Venom came out, and, new DLC for Spider-Man PS4 also coming out this month. So, we're going to go ahead and dive into it. Now, Mr. Chase, I suppose we should talk a little bit about the two films preceding this movie, and actually what was going to be three films preceding this movie.
Yeah.
Um, Technically, we would have gotten this movie this year.
Ooh.
Yeah. Originally, The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was set to release in 2016. But then they pushed it back after Amazing Spider-Man 2 because they announced a Sinister Six movie which
Mm-hmm.
basically would have been Amazing Spider-Man 3, but, you know, they reasons, I guess.
Right.
Sony.
Right. Sony. Right.
Sony. But right. So originally, obviously they started with the Spider-Man series back in like 2002 with Tobey Maguire and all that, and that did fantastic. Spider-Man 2 did amazing, and Spider-Man 3 happened, and a lot of people were incredibly disappointed because it's not a good movie at all. Well, I mean, it's one of those movies you can see good stuff in it and how it could have been a very good movie, but it was, just dropped the ball hard. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um, so they are moving forward with Spider-Man 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we've explained this before in previous episodes, like whenever we were originally talking about Spider-Man 4.
Right.
But they were moving forward with it, and they had a deadline. The movie was supposed to come out in 2011, I think, which is actually a distance after 2007, which was whenever Spider-Man 3 came out. That's like 4 years, isn't it? Jeez. Usually you don't have to wait that long for a comic book movie, but then again, we're spoiled now, so.
Right.
But yeah, so that's when originally it was supposed to come out, and Sam Raimi went up to Sony and was like, "Hey, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Like, we can't have it ready by then," because he was working on other projects and stuff like that. And he's like, "I know you're planning your reboot, so just go ahead and do that," which is pretty crappy.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks for Sam Raimi, because Sam Raimi had a completely different movie in mind for Spider-Man 3. And yeah, they just shoved Venom in it because they recently got the rights to Venom. So they were like, put Venom in it. And then they did, and it sucked. So obviously they went forward with the reboot. They got Andrew Garfield to play Spider-Man, had the Lizard in the first one, had Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. Awesome plan. It wasn't the best movie. It was pretty good, but it wasn't like amazing or anything, even though the title might fool you. Ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Chase, I'm so funny. But anyway, the movie did enough money for them to greenlight a sequel. Sequel came out and it was garbage. You want to fight me on that, or?
I shall not fight you on that at
all right, here's a hot take. Ready for this?
Okay.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is worse than Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Boom! There it is. Well, I mean, there was a whole lot of trouble with this film because they really were trying to set up an entire universe off of just Spider-Man characters, which really doesn't work, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah.
But no.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man's one of those characters that bounces really well off of all the other Marvel characters because that's how he's been written for so many years.
And yeah, exactly. And you're seeing that now a lot with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU. And it works and it fits super well. And I mean, you could do that more with, like, say, DC characters and stuff like that, you know. Because originally a lot of them weren't in the same universe. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, they were all a bunch of different, separate, like, characters that were bought up by DC and put into one universe. But Marvel was created with all these characters in the same universe. Like, you know, starting off in the 40s with, like, Captain America, Namor, and the Human Torch before the Fantastic Four. That's a thing, by the way. Originally, the Human Torch was an android. That's a real thing. There you go.
It is a real thing.
And you had like that.
He can be seen in Captain America.
Yeah. He's in one of the what I can't think, display cases. Yeah, and the I couldn't think. But yeah, in one of the display cases at the Stark World Fair thing. Oh, and which, by the way, Captain America: The First Avenger, such a good movie. Oh, Captain America. Sorry. Oof. Easy. Sorry, my heart, man. I swoon every time I think about Captain America.
And
but
no one blames you.
Oh, that's right. We're talking about Amazing Spider-Man. Ugh.
That's slightly.
But yeah, so like Marvel was always set up to be a part of a universe, and while you could do that with Spider-Man more so with like any other character from Marvel, because he has such a huge gallery of characters. Like I would argue that him and Batman have the best side characters, supporting characters, and villains out of really all the comics. Like him and Batman are top everyone else, I would say. Because I mean, really, like, do you just really want to see a Daredevil movie with a Daredevil spin-off with Stiltman? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Or Leapfrog. You could I do want to see Stiltman show up in season 4 of Daredevil. If that doesn't happen, I riot.
That would be pretty.
That would be
sweet.
Amazing. Like, and you just play it for laughs. Just put
Yeah.
Turk Barrett in the suit and just play it for laughs. But hey, I like how we are super avoiding the topic at hand.
Just like,
because we don't want to. Oh, it's so bad. All right, but they obviously didn't know what they were doing because there's so many deleted scenes. One of the famous ones from the trailers is Dane DeHaan's Harry Osborn being like, isn't that the question of the day, or whatever. You remember what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Well, isn't that the question of the day? And well, it was the question of the day because, where was this scene at? That is the question of the day. There was so much in the trailer.
That question today. Where
did that? Yeah, Mary Jane was supposed to be in the film, played by Shailene Woodley. I think that's how you say your name. From Detergent.
No.
The joke is that Divergent sounds like detergent. I'm such a creative person. But yeah, Mary Jane was originally supposed to be in the movie, and her scenes were cut because, obviously they knew Gwen Stacy was going to bite it at the end because, obviously.
Right.
But her scenes were completely cut from the film, so she didn't have anything to do in it. And there was also a deleted scene where his dad came back from the grave.
Yeah. No, that's not okay.
It was obvious.
Going ahead and doing the whole spy thing was not okay, and then going into it even more and saying, "Oh no, he's not dead.
Yeah,
he's still alive."
Dead.
And now we're gonna break mentally break Peter Parker. Just give me a second.
Which technically that is a thing from the comics. The Secret Agent parents. I don't necessarily like it because it does take away from Spider-Man being the everyday guy, which is what Peter Parker is supposed to be. He's supposed to be that, anyone could be Spider-Man type deal.
Yeah.
That's the way Spider-Man's supposed to be. But in the comics it was at one point hey, they're SHIELD agents.
Right. But that was a long time ago.
That was in the 80s or 90s whenever. Yeah. And I kind of hope they don't do that in the MCU.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't. No. We don't need it. It's good on its own. We don't need that major revelation unless they do it in Far From Home. Oh. No. You aren't ready for it. But yeah, there's so much stuff that was cut from the film, added to the film. It was obvious that they didn't really know what they were doing. Felicia Hardy was in the film, played by Felicity Jones. She was a secretary or something. It was in it for a little bit, and then they had the evil basement.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, I like the compelling story of all of my villains coming from a basement.
All right.
But yeah, no, that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
And so obviously Sony, they want a franchise to make a lot of money off of. So they really Iron Man 2'd The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but made it so much worse because Iron Man 2 is still kind of enjoyable. It's even one of the worst Marvel movies, it's still pretty enjoyable. So it's so they went forward and really just put teaser after teaser after teaser of things that were going to be in the next one. Chase, I don't know if you caught this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big one. In one of the trailers, in the the little the underground train spy thing that his dad had for some reason.
Indeed, I do.
And that he didn't find until he threw a temper tantrum and threw a calculator at the wall, and that's how his dad planned on him finding it or something. Yeah, and then how his video was sent to that underground train station, even though it's under however much feet of concrete, and the signal would be terrible. But okay, we'll ignore that. But right. How he finds that underground train thing that opens up out of the ground for some reason.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, in one of the trailers, in the background of that train, was the Venom symbiote, like in a test tube.
Oh,
Yeah, and then it wasn't in the movie.
come on.
Yeah.
At least they didn't put it in the movie. Jeez.
Yeah.
That
Which,
would have been like the last straw.
dude, the last straw for me was just the entire movie.
Yeah.
I think the
That's
last
fair,
straw
yeah.
for me was the Stan Lee cameo. Do you remember that?
Ooh, in the second one?
Yeah. Do you
Mm,
remember what it
I can't
was?
say I do. What was it?
Exactly. It was nothing. They just did it to get it out of the way. Spider-Man
Ugh.
shows up to his own graduation in a Spider-Man mask, has to turn around to pull it back off before walking
Yeah.
out with his cap and gown. And Stanley points and goes, "Hey, I think I know that guy." That
Ah,
that was
yeah.
it. It didn't even make sense, man.
Wow. Oh, wow. That is, yeah. Wow. Okay.
The Stan Lee cameo in Venom was better, and I don't even remember what it was.
Right? Oh, what was it? No, I
Exactly.
couldn't tell you. I
The
couldn't tell
the
you.
Stan Lee cameos in Spider-Man 1 and 2 and X-Men 1 were better, where he was literally just standing. In
Yeah.
X-Men 1, he was just standing in a crowd. In Spider-Man 1 and 2, he just pulls someone out of the way of falling rebel. Those were his cameos in that movie.
Yeah.
But it was better than freaking Amazing Spider-Man 2 because it was just so lazy, and it was obvious they only did it because they felt like they had to. Which sucks because Amazing Spider-Man 1 has one of the best cameos in it with the library scene, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it's anyway. So obviously they were trying to get we keep avoiding talking about this. So there was so much stuff, and like you're going to hear different stuff from everyone because there was so much stuff that was thrown at the screen. They were just throwing junk at the wall just to see what stuck, and then they would use it. So you'll hear there's so much different information out there, especially after the Sony email hack that happened, like when North Korea hacked them.
Yeah.
That was interesting times because Seth Rogen and James because Seth
were
Rogen
doing the-
and James Franco were
the
making a
interview.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the interview. Gosh, man. That movie disappeared into nothingness as well.
Yeah, like it was. I don't know. I still maintain it was. I think it was a good one.
I think parts of it were funny. I saw parts of it, I saw the whole movie, and I think a good little bit of it was, it was funny. But yeah, it became a big thing because people were like, all right, let's go see this movie because we're Americans and we can do what we want. And because North Korea was whatever, and then it just, no one really talked about it after that.
Right. Just,
Yeah, right. Like, if it was an amazing film, like, oh, this redefines comedy, I think we'd be talking about it for years to come. But yeah, it was just kind of a,
Right.
but
Mm.
yeah, so a lot of information came out from that. Like, a lot of Sony leaks came out because they hacked all their emails. That's when a lot of stuff for Sony went sour, and why they're in such a bad place now is because of all the stuff that happened. Like, it was confirmed that they were planning a Secret Agent Aunt May spin-off movie.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that was a real thing that they were doing, and there were so many other planned spin-offs, like Ricochet, Venom, Kraven, Mysterio. All the things that they're talking about doing now. Obviously Venom, because Venom sells. The Sinister Six was confirmed to be happening, and they had Drew Goddard behind it, who was the showrunner for Daredevil Season 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So he is a good talent. He directed Cabin in the Woods, the movie that Joss Whedon wrote. So he's obviously a good talent, but he really messed up because he left Marvel, like the Netflix shows, to go do that. Yeah. So yeah. And then that never happened. So, but we're not even talking about Sinister Six right now. Let's talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 3, the movie that would have come after that in 2018. Originally, it was supposed to be like, it came out after, like, whenever The Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out, I think it was. They started releasing like a few years later, they released like what movies were coming next. And they announced 3 movies. They announced all the way to The Amazing Spider-Man 4. That Amazing Spider-Man 2 was coming out in 2014. Amazing Spider-Man 3 was coming in 2016. Then Amazing Spider-Man 4 was going to come in 2018, right? But then they announced Sinister Six after Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and Amazing Spider-Man 3 was pushed. Lord, it's such a mouthful. Amazing Spider-Man 3. It was pushed to 2018, and then 4 was pushed to 2020, I think. And they all had release dates. They all had release dates. Like the exact date was that it was going to come out. It was all planned, all ready to go. And then no. So basically, we'll talk about the movie, and we'll kind of talk about how it kind of failed. But let's talk about the movie a little bit, just to, kind of get into it. So they were still planning on moving forward with this until Amazing Spider-Man 2 became such a disaster.
Right. Okay.
Which caused Sony to have a Spider-Man Summit. More on that later, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah, a summit.
That doesn't even... Ugh. Poor Sony. Come on, guys.
No, not poor Sony. They're trash.
Get it under control.
So, yeah. So, originally, right, they delayed it after July 2014 because Amazing Spider-Man 2 underperformed hard. Really hard.
Obviously. Yes.
Neighbors did better than a Spider-Man movie. An R-rated comedy did better than a Spider-Man movie. So
that's sad.
There was a lot of stuff going on with this. Mark Webb obviously was going to direct the film. Which, do you think that they just they said it was Mark Webb? They got him to do it just because his last name was Webb?
I mean, I think that's an odd coincidence, but no, I don't. I think he was passionate about the project.
Well, the weird thing is that I mean, Sony, do you think they got him just because we're like, we'll hire him because last name is Webb?
That definitely had 90% to do with it.
But yeah, so which sucks because, and it's weird because Mark Webb, his past was mostly with music videos and stuff.
Right.
And romantic comedies or whatever, or romantic films or whatever. So it was weird that they picked him to do Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, and, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 1 was pretty good, and the Russo brothers, who are now making billions of dollars with the new Avengers movies and Infinity War and all that, they're mostly comedy directors. So
Yeah. So,
people can do more than one thing.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, Andrew Garfield was supposed to come back as Spider-Man himself. Paul Giamatti said that he was going to come back as the Rhino because, you got that lovely 3 seconds of him.
Right.
Dane DeHaan was going to come back as Green Goblin, or Harry Osborn. It was probably going to be Green Goblin.
How would that have worked? That doesn't even make sense to me. It looks like he could never be Harry Osborn again.
Yeah, but then in the end credit scene, he's like, "Oh, it comes and goes." It's like, what?
Yeah. It's like, wait.
Hold on a minute. You had
No,
ghetto
that did
nails
not
and
just
everything.
Go away. Where did that go?
You became a hard meth head, and then all of a sudden you're back to being posh Dane DeHaan. I called him Dylan for some reason.
In no world does that happen, ever.
And that's another thing that I forgot to mention about Harry Osborn. Chris Cooper, the guy who played him in Amazing Spider-Man 2, was guaranteed a huge role as Norman Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Keep in mind, he died in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Right.
There was also a deleted scene that was, cut, and Sony denied that it existed, where it had Norman Osborn's severed head cryogenically frozen in that basement.
Oh boy.
It's gosh, man, it's so broken. Lord have mercy. This is it's interesting to do an autopsy on all this just to see everything that killed it. You know what killed it? Sony did. Because they didn't know what they were doing. They didn't let the writers do what they were doing. They're like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's the same thing that happened with Spider-Man 3. You just instantly killed it because you just put way too much of your influence into it, and you killed the entire series. So, apparently, what it was supposed to... Like, again, like, there are so many different things about this movie. Like, it was rumored that Venom was going to be in it, and he was going to be one of the main villains, right? But it was also... You know, obviously you would tackle probably mostly Peter grieving over Gwen's death, even though he got over it like at the last part of it, and he's like, "I'm gonna be a hero," and it's like, okay,
yeah,
whatever.
Gwen Stacy says 5 words. That's obviously not meant for a graduation.
Yeah, like she said a speech that was obviously not meant for graduation at all about letting go and being okay when your girlfriend dies. That's oddly specific.
Yeah. And when I die, you're gonna
Peter.
be okay, and you're gonna be Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
And everyone was like, "Wow, that's such a moving speech."
So that's oddly specific, but okay. Yay, we're graduating.
Absolutely moving. What did she say about Peter Parker? But, gosh, this movie. And apparently, there was going to be a plot where he could find out that his mutated blood could revive people in his life that had died.
No.
Yes. Nope. Yes. No, this was a serious thing. This was serious.
No.
So not Chris Cooper. It's not. What's his name? Hold on. Dennis Leary, the guy who played Captain George Stacy in the first movie. He said that he was going to be back in Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Okay. Yeah, I remember some of that.
Because he was going to be brought back to life.
Right.
And I guess Gwen would probably come back too. Of course, this is at the same time that they were talking about doing a Spider-Gwen movie as well. Because of course they would. They were. I mean, like... Of course they were. I'm slowly losing my will to live. Gosh dang it, man. Well... So the Sinister Six would have already been in the universe, right? Because, excuse me, I'm dying. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 set up the Sinister Six, and there was supposed to be a Sinister Six movie. So they would have already been existing in the universe, and it was rumored that that team would kind of be of like Rhino, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Vulture, Kraven, and Mysterio. But it was also rumored that Spider-Man would be a part of the Sinister Six.
What?
Yeah, you heard me. And Black Cat was going to be a part of it, even though I'm pretty sure she's never been on the team. Yeah.
What is this movie?
I don't know, because I don't even know.
Not a good one.
Obviously. But, so Shailene Woodley said that, apparently she was going to be coming back playing Mary Jane. That would have been something. I don't know. Obviously, they have to set up a new romance for Peter Parker after Gwen dies. But the way it worked in the comics and the way they should have done it in the movies, you should have had both of them at the same time, so that Mary Jane could have, been with him, already known him, and helped him through the grieving of Gwen's death. Come on. This all you got to do is read a comic.
Yeah.
But they obviously didn't, because magic blood. Magic blood.
Yeah,
So Cletus Cassidy.
Magic. Oh, jeez.
He
no more.
Was apparently supposed to either make a full appearance or just a cameo. Remember whenever Jim Carrey was apparently on set and everybody was saying that he was going to play Carnage? That was the thing.
Oh, man.
That was the thing that people said. Yeah, I don't... God, Gosh dang it, man. So Eddie Brock was supposed to make a full appearance to either set up the symbiote, be the villain, or set up for a spin-off movie, Venom, the movie.
Right.
So maybe Spider-Man would have gotten the symbiote in this, which actually would have worked for your story that you're trying to hit with, him grieving. It would fit that story, amplifying emotions and stuff like that. That would work. But you know they would screw it up. You know they would screw. It's Sony. That's what they do. Jonah Jameson was supposed to show up in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. Again, all of it was up in the air because they didn't have a movie at all. And, Mark Webb was asked about it before The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and he was like, we want him to be in it in the third one. It's just not easy to put him in it because J.K. Simmons did such a great role. And it's like, well, that's true because J.K. Simmons did awesome. But, J. Jonah Jameson is important. Put him in the freaking movie. Do you remember The Gentleman?
The Gentleman.
Yes. The Gentleman.
You mean at the end?
Yeah. How he's just a dude in a suit and a hat. That guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who
I do.
literally, they announced who he was, what character it was. And I don't even remember the name because he was in one Spider-Man story, and it wasn't a comic book. It was like a normal book. And he was only appeared in that. Ever. So they said that's who he is, and the whole internet exploded in saying, who?
Wait, what?
But apparently, he was supposed to come back, right? Early July 2015, Mark Webb was asked which characters he wanted to see in Amazing Spider-Man 3 or wanted to get in it. And he said something like, there's the guy in the hat, obscure character called The Gentleman, who gets the Sinister Six together. That would have been fun to play out. And then he also says Venom, obviously, would have been fun. No. Why would this some obscure character that no one cares about get the Sinister Six together whenever you could have it be the Master Planner and have it Dr. Octopus?
Okay. Yeah. I see your pain. I see your pain, and I raise you.
I raise you. I raise you 2 decibels in volume.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am so glad this didn't happen. Like, for one, if this did happen, we wouldn't get Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoa, I am so glad.
I'll be honest, and we'll talk about how the film died and everything in just a minute, even though it's pretty obvious that it had multiple forms of cancer.
Yeah.
It had Sonyitis, and that's terminal, man. You can see with Venom how that played out. Woo! There it is. I had to put that one jab at Venom in there, man. Because it was trash. But yeah, like, man, it's just, gosh, what was I saying a minute ago?
Dude.
Well, you're talking about Tom Holland, but
yeah,
like, I mean, even just comparing the one film, like his own solo movie that he's only had one solo so far.
Yeah.
Just comparing that to both of these movies, like, it's insanity. I would have liked to seen The Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Right.
I wouldn't choose it over Homecoming, obviously. But, like, I wish I could see this, right? Just to see like what amazing kind of train wreck it is.
Yeah, it's like, I was about to say that, like, literally watching a train crash. You can't do anything about it, but you want to look away, but you can't help but wow.
It's like, I gotta think of I had one, but that was kind of offensive. I had a thing I was gonna say, but I can't say that.
Off by my analogy.
I was. Oh. It's like watching a paraplegic puppy trying to drive a car on a tightrope.
Oh, dang.
It's like, you
Oh.
know how bad it's going to be, but you kind of just have to watch. And it's like, I know it's not going to be good, but, maybe he makes it.
Maybe.
I'm such a
Maybe.
dark person. Oh my gosh. Paraplegic puppy, no. No, man. I'm upset.
Sparks.
Bart! Boom! Oh.
Ah, dang! I really thought I'd make it this time.
I'm like actually
Oh
really
well.
mad at myself for making that
You
joke.
can't get any more disabled.
Oh no! Chase, no! Chase, no! I'm not editing that out.
Oh, yes.
I'm not gonna edit that out. That's too good.
What this? Oh.
Oh lordy. But okay. But yeah, so in June, or excuse me, it was February 9th, 2015. Dude, I remember this. This is like a defining moment in my life.
Okay.
I got a notification from Twitter, and it said Spider-Man joining Marvel or the Avengers or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me read about this comic event that's coming up. And it's like, there's been a deal brokered with Sony that's going to allow the character of Spider-Man and all the rich characters from his world to merge with the MCU. And I crapped off, and it was beautiful, dude. It's like whenever the moon landing happened. It's like, where were you whenever Spider-Man got announced to be in the MCU?
Spider-Man. When TASM
When TASM
got canceled.
When TASM died and Spider-Man Homecoming was on the rise. Do you remember at all, like, where you were?
Let's see. I think I was. Let's see. You said February of last
Yeah,
year?
no, it was 2015, dude. What the crap?
Oh, holy crap. Okay, I was back.
Yeah,
in
dude, I
hometown.
loved it whenever Spider-Man
Cool.
showed up in Civil War and they didn't announce it was going to be in it until 2017.
Oh man, no, I was back in hometown when that happened.
Gosh, yeah, man.
Yeah, we were still recording the podcast from Sparta.
We didn't even start the podcast.
Oh,
We didn't
my-
start until
you
early
are
2016.
So right. Oh man.
Dude, this was before we got back to talking a lot lately. Like, at that time, because, obviously, okay, so, hey, history, you're getting a lot with,
Family.
a lot
history.
with this TASM movie, talk.
Yes.
Dude, so I moved off, like, 5 hours away, 10 years ago this year, which is crazy to think about. And me and Chase were super close whenever we were little. Grew apart because we were 5 hours away and didn't really, and this was whenever I was 9, so I didn't have a phone. And so we didn't really have any ways of talking to each other. Through negative circumstances, a positive thing came out of it because there were a lot of deaths in our family who they all went on to be with Jesus, so we don't mourn too much because we know we're going to see him again. Hallelujah, praise Jesus. But through that kind of situation, me and Chase got to see each other like 4 or 5 different times in the span of like 16 months, and we were both talking, and we were like, hey, yeah, I've been listening to this podcast. And I was like, Chase, I listen to this podcast, right? And he's like, really? Dude, I was thinking about how fun it would be to start a podcast. And,
Yeah.
and then we like, oh my God. And it just happened. It was beautiful. And it was that beautiful moment that it happened. And you can't listen to those podcasts anymore anyway. Because
We got rid of the evidence.
we got rid of all of it.
They
I think the first one was in
freaking
February.
bad.
Oh, that was terrible. I mean, not that these are good. But you can still listen
But
to.
We're on our way, okay?
Yeah, it's something. All right. You can still
But
listen.
if you want to get a taste of those glory days,
Oh, yeah.
you can go back to
What If,
the
yeah.
start of the videos on the YouTube channel. I think they're like the what ifs. And
Yeah, we left all the what ifs. We deleted the Lights Camera Comics, but we left all of What If on here. So you can go back and start at the beginning. This is the 10th episode of it, even though it's super inconsistent. We know. The thing about the What If though is the things I worry about is that like eventually we'll run out of stuff to talk about. But then again, the DCEU keeps announcing stuff like a Deadshot movie, so we'll never run out.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so obviously they announced that Spider-Man was coming in February of 2015, and it was in I think it was when was it? It was in June of 2015 that Tom Holland was officially cast, and it was announced that he was going to be in Civil War. We saw Civil War in May of 2016, and it blew everyone's freaking mind. And it was awesome, and he's the best Spider-Man we've had. You can't tell me any different at all. There's no way that there is a better live-action Spider-Man than Tom Holland. Thank you. Case closed. Chase, what was it that what was it that we what was our thing? Because I feel like we change it every time. It was like, if you're in a different universe.
Yeah. Okay, so it's if you're in a parallel universe.
Right.
And you suddenly awaken from a deep, deep slumber and find yourself in a random butt theater for no reason whatsoever. You're slightly concerned that you may have been kidnapped, but it's okay because you're in a movie theater and it feels familiar. And suddenly, the title card comes. The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Do you, A, sit comfortably and buy some popcorn and soda, or just grab the ones that you sneaked in from Dollar General? B, forget everything about A and run out of the theater screaming? Or C, go back to sleep?
That's actually a really good list. I feel like I would accidentally do C. Either that, or it's like one of those movies where it's like Origins, where it's like, I can't believe how stupid this is. This is amazing.
Yeah, you're like,
it would probably be an
this
Origins.
is so bad, it's almost good.
I feel.
I would probably do A. I'd probably grab some popcorn and drink and sit back and enjoy.
I feel like any rational human would do B. Just to be honest.
Right.
Oh wait, how did I get here? No, it's like okay. Let's change B to be like, I'm just going to get up and kind of walk out because I don't care.
Yeah.
But forget the kidnapping thing. All right, so would you just get up and walk out? I feel like I would do A. I feel like I would want to see kind of what's going on, just to see the train wreck for what it is. I don't remember what I said for Justice League Mortal, but I feel like I probably said B, because like we already know the plot and we already know how trash it was going to be.
Right.
So
I feel that.
So I think for Amazing Spider-Man 3, I just kind of want to see what happened and see all these non-related plots come together in a way that is absolutely not satisfying at all. Yeah. And just see how trash it is. And then, go back to my universe. Or stay there and cry.
You're stuck there.
No, yeah, I'm stuck there. The woman I love.
Secretly, the universe is strictly just that theater. Playing the
same
you
open the door. You open the door, and there's just like black nothingness. And like you sit at the entrance of the theater and on your knees and you cry because you think about the people you left and the woman you love. How you'll never get to tell her. Right. You'll never get to tell her that you love her. Yes. And then you go back to watch Amazing Spider-Man 3.
One other person in the theater.
They're like, "Hey, shut up! I'm trying to watch the movie." It's Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
Andrew Garfield with his vampire hair.
You're right.
It's like, I'm trying to watch my movie. And then he starts crying a little bit because he's like, this isn't the real universe. It isn't real. Oh, wow. This is a sad universe we've created, dude.
This is sad. Ugh, I take it all back. Andrew Garfield doesn't need to be there.
I want to give Andrew Garfield a hug and be like, dude, I'm sorry. At least you got Hacksaw Ridge because that movie was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's okay.
Shh. Hush. You got a good Mel Gibson movie. It's okay. I know he freaked out and said all those really weird things on the thing. He's like how he lost his Laker tickets. But, it's it's okay. It's okay. Shh. It was a good movie.
Oh.
So for Heroic Power Entertainment. This is how we're closing. Guys, if you want to follow the show, follow it at Heroic Power ENT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I put some memes on Instagram where I just kind of make it or I steal them. One of the two. And post them on there. Also, sometimes I post news if it's like big news. But if you want news, listen to Lights Camera Comics. It's not half bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a quarter bad, but
It's definitely better than it was.
I mean, that's not a high bar, but
No, but it is.
it is, though. It is. Yeah, if you want to follow Chase, I'm going to pull up the description links because I'm ready this time. Boom. If you want to follow Chase, follow him on Instagram at chase.galleon1, Twitter at galleon_chase, and Snapchat at chase.galleon. You want to follow me, I'm Captain JSSG on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I think I speak for both me and Chase. Just so you know, we're not adding you back on Snapchat. I'm sorry, it's just not a thing.
That's right.
It's just,
I might.
you can watch our story.
If I'm feeling it, I'll flip a coin.
Chase is like, hey, do I know this person? Do I not? I don't care. I'm going to add them and let them steal my kidney. It's all good. I'll wake up in a bathtub.
It's fine.
Wake up in a bathtub full of ice and be like, hey, where'd my kidney go? It's cool. Whatever. He was a cool guy. I have a 52-day streak on Snapchat with him, so it's all good.
It's fine.
It's all good. Fine. So yeah, for Heroic Power Entertainment, I am Joseph Galleon.
And I am Dat Boy.
Dat Boy. Bye.